Some of us love to plan. Some of us hate to plan. Either way, there's a lot of planning tools. So I put together a compilation of the planning tools that I have already reviewed. This way, go to one spot, find out which one is right for you. Remember, I go look inside of the tools so you can figure out exactly what the features are, exactly what really aren't great features, how much it costs, and if it's even worth it. So keep looking through, decide on which tool is right for you, and enjoy this GBRLIFE compilation of planning tools. Let's get into it. You can go directly to the Trello website and download, not really download, but log in. So do I like that? Yeah, because it's quick and easy and simple. But you know what else I like? It's very visual. This is one of the boards. When you go into Trello, it brings you directly into creating boards first. And the first thing after you create your little boards, well, I should show you. You can create multiple boards. You can see it in table view, calendar view. It's all really nice, right? And it's all very visual. Something I really love. You have your boards, you have your lists within those boards, and then you have your cards that you can move around. What do I mean by that? This is a card, I'm moving it to right here. This is another card, I'm gonna move it to right there. And I know this almost sounds a little too simple, but I feel like this is the strength. You see your planner right in front of you. You're able to see the cards, and your boards can go from one place to the next. You can go into a table format and see everything that you need to do right in front of you from that view. You can go into other views like just your calendar or your timeline. You can also rename your board. You can look at a map of New York. I do not live in New York, so that's kind of interesting. I mean, it even has this really nice and easy to look at dashboard and immediately say to yourself, okay, this is what a task is, where it needs to go, what stage it's in, and immediately understand everything that you're looking at. And if you don't like that view, you can change into the boards. And again, immediately see exactly what needs to be done. You're seeing that right off the bat. You know, you can move this around, add another list right here. You can also add in stickers, or you can change your backgrounds to just a basic color if you wanted to. I really like this background, but let's go to photos and I'll do that for a second and then back to the good one because I really like that background. And again, you can see that you're building your whole little system, but it's not from scratch, because when you're creating a board, create a new board, and I will call it board fun, and we'll say that the background is that one, and just go ahead and press create. So you're seeing that right in front of you. It's very easy to create these lists, and you don't have to really try and figure out how to do anything immediately. I feel like this is very just, go in, start doing it. And I love that. And then inside of each and every one of these boards, and inside of, the boards and then your cards, let me go back over to another board. You can actually, this is for next week, you can add in a description. You can add in all these other labels, including attachments, other members, checklists, so that's your sub tasks, your dates, custom fields, your labels that you can also update what that label name is going to be. Again, the dates over here. You can do a checklist item and those wonderful members, and you can add in a comment for those members to see, but also see the activity. And then if you want to make this even better, you can also do automation right in front of you. Add a button. So you can say, move this to the card or copy this to here or add this label automatically for whatever you want to do. But it reminds me of Zapier, essentially. And if I go back, I'd like to go back to not that board. Let's go to the Trello board. So this is the first one I created. And if I want to keep looking at this, I can, but I can also change my view from on here, from the, I think, was it day? Yeah, on day to week, or I can do something custom. I can also bring in over here some of these other options like your, there's the power up, and this is essentially your integrations. There are not very many of these integrations, but they do have a few, and this is one of them. I don't know what Confluence is, but that's another one. And then just really any apps that this company already uses. Atlassian, I don't know. What do you know? Tell me down below, because I don't know. I don't know, and you probably do. And then again, you have all of these other options right there. So you can see where this has you go right in and immediately start planning very quickly and easily without even having to try and think about it or figure out in a way that is, you need to go on YouTube essentially and figure it out by someone else training you how to do it, like your Notions and your ClickUps. I mean, those are so complex. Like you have to go, it does so much. It's so wonderful, but you have to go and find out how to even start because you don't even know how to do this. And this is extremely flexible with anything that you could possibly want to need. Your inbox, you can add that if you want to. And if you don't, again, want to look at that, you just want to look at your board. It's right in front of you. It's very easy to just do stuff like that. So this is all the things I really love. It's easy. But you know what I don't love? What I don't like? It's messy. Here's the thing about all of this. This is great, but if you are messy, this is going to be messy. Now on this one, I do show that I actually have in your labels and stuff. So I wrote like writing. Let me see if I can show the labels: writing, editing, planning, recording, and creativity. You can see that I was doing stuff on here. This is overdue. It's not really I did it, and I said it was a high priority and I can check it off if I need to. But you can see that this is actually, it could be very messy if I wanted it to be. If I'm not really paying attention to this and I just left that as past due and I just leave it there, I mean, that's just going to be in my face about a whole bunch of things that are past due. Or not even have the option of having, oh, this is due on this date because I never actually updated it or anything. This is you can do your automations and spend your time doing that, no problem. But again, this can get very messy unless you are actively involved in this. It's not going to do it for you unless you set it to do it for you. And even then, you're still actively having to maintain in some capacity because it still needs to know what you need to list. So essentially what I'm saying is that this can turn into a digital junk drawer. So it's only organized if you know how to be organized. Also, I did do the beautiful, wonderful dashboard. Okay, but here's the thing about this. Beautiful, wonderful, like I keep saying, but it's very simple. This is not a project management dashboard. So if you're looking for something like that, you're not getting that from Trello. And there's no advanced reporting here. This is it. That's the whole thing. That's your fun, right? So this isn't going to compete with your ClickUps or Monday or Asana or Notion because those are insanely involved, but this one is insanely not. So it does look pretty just like those, but it's definitely not complex. And if you want a tool that says, here's your day, let me go back over to the board, and here's what fits in your calendar, and here's what's realistic for you to actually do today because this is what you actually have time for, this is not giving you that at all. This is going to tell you what you listed, and it's going to be as messy as you make it. But it can also be as pretty as you want it to be. I think it's a really good tool for somebody in this capacity immediately that really loves to plan. But how much does that person want to pay? So now let's talk about some pricing. So Trello does have a free plan. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons that people still talk about it and still use it. Because in the free plan, you're getting unlimited cards, up to 10 boards per workspace, unlimited power-ups per board, plus 250 workspace commands or command runs per month. And for one person or a small startup, that may feel like it's enough. And then you have your standard, which is only $5 a month. But this is also if you're going annually. I want to see if there's a way to, no, I can't look at the other way. But either way, $5 per month when billed annually. Or I believe it is $6 if you're doing it monthly. But it's going to give you unlimited boards, more automation, and some advanced checklists, more custom fields, a little more bells and whistles. And then you have your premium at $10 a month. And that is also $12.50 if you're going per month and billed monthly. And that's giving you your AI. So if you're interested in that portion of the show, that's where you're going to get more of that opportunity. But you're also going to get things like your map and probably a little bit better of a dashboard and timelines and just a lot more view options. And then you have your enterprise. And well, it's showing $17.50 per user. But if you think about that, because it's saying up to 50 users, this is going to go up exponentially depending on what you're needing and how you're needing it. And that's really going to be for all those huge businesses anyway, so you'll probably want to contact Trello for that. And honestly, if you have any questions about pricing, contact Trello in general. I'm not affiliated. I'm just doing a review. So in my opinion, in this review, because I get to be honest, they're not paying me. They're not expensive, but they're definitely not the cheapest out there. And my thing is, if you are looking at something like this, I'm not going to say that it's the most expensive out there at all because it's pretty standard, but I'm also not going to say that you're getting the best deal either for what it's giving you at these price points. And that brings us to the next big question. Is Trello worth it? And I think it's worth it if you want a visual planning tool, you like boards, lists, and cards, and you want to see what stage that something is in. And you're interested in planning your content and you manage simple projects and you're organizing maybe a small business workflow, or you're a student and you have not just a little bit of things here and there, but enough that you need something like this. But I wouldn't say that this is for you if you need deep dashboards or you need heavy reporting or anything advanced project management wise. I'd say that no, don't go for something like this. And it's definitely not for you if you're going to create boards and never clean them up. You do need to be more hands-on with this. So in my opinion, Trello works best if you just kind of let it be Trello and you don't try and turn this into Notion or ClickUp or any of those other really awesome tools, but not quite this one, right? They're definitely nowhere near similar. And lastly, and the part that makes a difference for me with all of this, the one thing about Trello is that it's not pretending that AI doesn't exist because it's in there, but it does still feel like they're trying to be a planning tool first. And that is the very reason why, for the fun stuff, the GBRLIFE rating, I'm giving Trello the GBRLIFE rating of a 3.5 out of 5 because Trello does do what it's supposed to do. It's visual, flexible, easy to understand. The free plan is pretty useful. The automation does make sense. And I like that it gives you a planning system without making AI the entire point of the tool. But I am taking off one whole point because Trello can be messy if you don't know how to manage it or don't manage it in general. And it may feel too simple for people who need some heavier project management. And some of the more useful features are behind those locked paid plans. And then I'm also removing a half a point because I do think that it's a bit too focused on being pretty versus being as useful as it could be. So yeah, I think Trello still holds up, but not because it's trying to be the future of everything, but because it gives you structure, visibility, and automation without making AI the whole personality of the app. And honestly, that might be exactly why it still works. And now I want to know what you think. Have you used Trello before? Do you like planning with boards and cards? And do you prefer a regular calendar or a daily planner or something like Notion or ClickUp? I'm a big Happy Planner fan, so I understand that too. And how do you feel about all of these productivity tools adding AI? Are you into it, or are you tired of every app trying to become your assistant? Drop that in the comments below because I feel like Trello is one of those tools that people either love because it's simple or they leave because they need something bigger, better, grandiose, and sometimes with or without AI. Thing I like, it has a clear purpose. You can see it right in front of you. This is your homepage. This is what it would show you after you start doing the sign up and, that whole process of logging in and getting everything set up, which is basically just going into the website, and it does have the desktop app, or you can do this on your phone with the actual phone app, but it's going to look very similar. You go in and it shows you your calendar and your tasks for the day. So it tells you immediately as you get into it, your purpose, and it walks you through a process though. And I'm going to show you that in just a minute. And it helps you figure out your priorities, what needs to move, what's left over, and what you can actually finish. And it shows it to you in a way that's not yelling at you like, hey, you can't get that done today. So the biggest pros already from looking at it is you can see a clear purpose in front of you with the calendar, with a very simple, clean menu right in front of you as well to go into the next big thing that helps you work through your day, not argue through it. And it also feels calmer in that productivity. Plus, it connects tasks with actual time, and it makes your calendar part of the planning process. Oh, and if you happen to overload your day normally, this is going to show you that immediately and tell you that, essentially. Again, not in a way that makes you feel weird. Either way, it basically all feels intentional. That's what I'm trying to say. So let me show you what I mean. When you get started, it's going to ask you a bunch of questions. Daily planning. That's where essentially you're going into. Now, I set up a couple things for, I believe, tomorrow's. Let me actually go back to the home. Yeah. So I add in just a couple things with that. But if I go into daily planning, that's what I meant to do. I can actually plan for the day. So if you do it early enough, it'll actually ask you, when do you start your day? When do you end your day? And this will help you set up all of your tasks. So you can add a task right here and you say, let's say today, edit, review, video. That's going to be today. Now this right here is your planned time. How long do you think this is actually going to take? For me, I would say an hour and a half, sure. Or it could take way longer than that. It depends on how this video goes as I'm recording it right now. And then not lastly, but you have your objectives and your, priority levels. This is really important to get done. And then I really love also that you can paste a URL. So if it's something that you need to actually click on and go directly into from their app, that's fantastic. You can just do it right here. And you're not like looking around everywhere. Okay, you need to do this one thing and then find that URL. No, you can actually add it right there into that task. But I'm just going to say that. And that's it. Now it automatically adds it and it's going to say, okay, 11:40 a.m. But what if I want to do this a little bit later? Well, I can actually move it into where I think I'm actually going to get it done. But you see this little line right here. It's saying, well, hey, you're going past your time. This is not when you're supposed to be doing it, see? And it's going to kind of say like, why is this past your normal time? Should we move this into a different day? Again, it can say, we don't like this. This just doesn't seem right. It's a scheduled task, but let's figure this out. And then from here, instead of focusing on all of this, I just went ahead and put it at 1 o'clock. And I'm just going to go ahead and press next. So from here, I can actually say, do I want to continue to do it today? Or I can bring this over to tomorrow. Or I can drag it over to next week, which means you have that easy to use calendar task system set up in front of you, but you have a very clear idea of what is going to go on through your day, and it kind of yelling at you without fully yelling at you about whether or not it can actually get done that day, because it shows you based off of the time frame that you are working if it actually works. And if you continue through, finalize your plan for the day. So this is going to be it. We're going to say this looks good, right? That's it. So now it's going to give it to you in another format because not everybody works well with just looking at that calendar. You'll also see that it gives you a list or bullets or an outline, however you'd like to call this. And what are some obstacles standing in the way? Getting my children from school, and there's a doctor's appointment today. So that's some stuff that's going on. Now I know, here's my daily plan, but these are the things that I know that are going on in my day. That's what it is. Okay, so then if you go over to your weekly planning, you can also do the same thing there, or you can do a weekly review. Why love the weekly review? Because it shows you what you got done. It wants to hype you. It doesn't want you to feel bad about what's going on, but it also wants you to see what you are spending your time doing and whether or not you're able to get your productivity in the way that you're looking to do. And my favorite part is your daily shutdown and your highlights. If you go over here, you can actually see what was highlighted through the day, like what you got done, and that was a big deal. Hey, I completed this task. Give yourself a good pat on the back, and you can even give yourself a little vibe of the day. And today was great, or it was a lot more complicated. You're working with yourself. It's like a little mini journal, but like working to hype you up. And your daily highlights is where you would actually add in all of those highlights. So you can add in more over here to say, hey, I also accomplished this and that. And then see it in that shutdown so that you felt really good about what you accomplished that day. And then, don't worry, they've got your back for backlog because nobody's perfect when it comes to procrastination. Over here, you see what didn't get done And you can actually put it in your backlog and say, I'm going to have to do that sometime next quarter, or I maybe can do it next week. You just drag it over and you drop it into where that's going to be. Now, if you're thinking, oh, well, this isn't a big deal, it is, because you can look at it in a board view. You can look at it in a day view. You can look at it in a week's view. You can focus your time and make sure that you are doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing in that time frame. So it's giving you the Pomodoro effect. You can also give yourself a list of the day and only look at that list. It's doing a lot in all of the intentional ways that work for a lot of different people. And it's not a bunch of junk in your face. So yes, this is doing a lot. And then if you're wondering, does it integrate with a bunch of things? Well, yes, it does. You don't have to try and figure out how to get all of this information by typing everything in 100% of the time. You can also connect it to your workflow by adding all of those project management tools and calendars that you already have. So it's right here and you would add to it. But it also asks you in the very beginning, what do you use? Go ahead and log in and it'll collect all the information. Where is that coming from? It's also coming from right here. Now, if I want to see all of that, right over here, it's right on the other side of the screen. So if I were to select the calendar, I can do that. I can go into Notion. I connected that as well. And then there is weekly objectives, or you can see none of that and not have all of that junk in your face. It's not junk. It's great stuff. But, it can feel like a lot in some other tools. So what do I not like here? Well, everything that you're looking at is not going to be free forever. This is not a permanent free plan, but we will get into pricing in just a moment. The other thing I don't like about all of this is that you need to use it constantly for this to actually work. You do need to put in that effort. Yes, it can find out different things from your calendar and things like that, but if you're not actively in this daily, moving these things around and adding in how you feel and what's going on, it's not going to work very well. Plus, in some ways, it could almost feel too guided. Like I'm trying to just type in a couple things really quickly and it's like, okay, next, go here. Okay, next, for this, okay, this looks good. Okay, now for here, oh, well, no, let me move this. No, let me go back. How do I get started? No, let me add more. It's just a little bit much on the working with you kind of thing. But in some ways, that's great if that's something someone really likes. Plus, it's not a full project management tool, so it's like it brings you into it and maybe you start using it so much and you just wish it could just do a little more. It won't. Everything I showed you is basically what it does. So this is not going to necessarily be likely enough for creators or business owners who really need that large dashboard. And if you don't like daily planning rituals, I could see where a lot of people are not going to stick with this. Plus, I don't know that it solves the daily planning better than, especially for a full life or business organization, than something like ClickUp or Asana and tools like that are more, project management based. And there's that price. It's time. And here you have the price. Basically, it's not the most expensive thing on the planet. It's pretty basic if you're looking at it in the sense of what these tools typically cost. It's $17 a month if you're paying yearly, so that comes out to $204 a year, or it's $22 a month billed monthly. Is that just insane? No, it's not. That's very common for tools like this. And it does have that 14-day free trial, so that really helps because obviously you want to be able to test it out to see if you actually like it. So all of the things I was doing, I was able to immediately do, but I am using the 14-day free trial. I haven't decided. I'm going to continue to use it and see whether or not it works for my life. But I have 14 days to figure that out. 2 weeks. 2 weeks can make a habit, or it could make you decide not to pay these types of prices. And in my opinion, it is a bit high though, because of what it's actually offering. I just think that you can do a lot more for this price in a lot of other tools. So it just depends on what you're really looking for, which brings us to the next question. Is it worth it? Well, I think it's worth it if you overplan your day, you're constantly moving unfinished tasks to tomorrow, or you have a task list and calendar that really don't match really ever. And I'm a person who does that a lot. So I understand you, for those of you out there who are like that. But if you need help being realistic and you need guided time and planning and you just want a calmer daily planning system, I would say that this is for you. I can see where this would be very useful because, the value is not just the task list, it's also the planning behavior. And Sunsama forces you to slow down and actually look at your day. But I don't think that this is for people who only need a simple to-do list, or who don't want another subscription, or you have another planning system that already works, or you need a full project management tool and you want a free app along with it. Completely understand that as well. There are a lot of tools out there that have that, like Notion, full project management tool, and they have a free plan. So that could be your next place. Or it may not be. Maybe this is it. Either way, it's going to be based off of who you are and what you need as that real determining factor if this is for you. Which brings us into the GBRLIFE rating. For the GBRLIFE rating, I'm giving Sunsama a 4 out of 5. I bet you thought it was going to be much lower, but it doesn't mean that this is perfect either. I do think that Sunsama does exactly what it's trying to do. And that's the reason I'm going to rate it as high, because it's a tool for those who are looking specifically for this type of tool. Not too much, but just enough to get their day going and being realistic about it and not cluttered, but also not so simple that you can't even see how your day works and they like to plan out their day. This is definitely a tool you might actually want to consider. And I would say that, it makes sense in rating it at that level if this is what you're looking for. But it's going to get an entire point removed because it's not everything. It could definitely use some updating in some of the things that it offers. And I don't really like the price. That's the truth. I took it down because I don't love the price for what it does. And that's that. So now I want to know what you think. Have you tried Sunsama? If you have, did it actually help you plan your day better? Or did it feel like one more productivity app you had to remember to use? And if you haven't tried it, would you pay for that premium daily planner like this? Or are you perfectly fine with a regular to-do list and your simple calendar? Drop that in the comments below because I feel like Sunsama is one of those tools that people either really understand or immediately think is too expensive. I love that the first thing that you see is exactly what you're looking for. Your calendar, your events, your tasks, and it's not cluttered. I also love that there's an option for focus time and you have integrations immediately, kind of built in the second that you get in. So before I even got into Akiflow, it asked me what I wanted to integrate, but I can add more. I do have some syncing issues over here, but you can see right here where I can add in all of these different tools. Plus, you can search for more if you're looking for more. And you can also see this is a pretty clean, smooth UI system. I mean, where is it really going wrong on making it feel cluttered? It's not. Because if I go back over to Akiflow itself, you can see that everything is in its own little space. And if I want a different type of view, schedule something on a calendar or anything I'm looking for, really, it's both right in front of me and not in my face all at the same time. I don't know how they accomplish this, but this is one of the first times I'm really looking at something and going, oh, okay, this is really nice. Because I can click down here and look at my week. Because I can click over here and click on a different day. Because I can go to my inbox and determine what needs to be added or add my personal inbox, the calendar, but also your Gmail or other tools that you may be using for your email. Plus, you can look at what is upcoming. You can also add what you're looking for into the next week, the next month, maybe even someday. Then you have your different ways of looking at that view. You have your days, you have your weeks, the way we started, and then you also have your months. So you can schedule out pretty much as far as you kind of want to. And then when you go into an actual item or task, you can also determine from there if you need to add in a description, but also add in a link. And then you also have the opportunity to add it to a project. Wondering where the projects are? Well, that's right off to your side. If I click this right here, you'll see right off to the side, there's your projects. You can quickly create a project or a folder for that project. And then you have the opportunity to just look at all of your tasks. So if you're sitting here thinking, I don't want to see it by day, I don't want to see it by week, I just want to see everything I have on my plate. Well, you can look at that. You can also make this bigger, make this shorter, and make it into what you're looking for. You can also add in your teams. So you can share your availability, but you can also meet with certain people and you can pin your team members. So this is a tool that works with other people, not just yourself, but it also works with just yourself if that's what you're looking for. Plus, you can add from your command bar. This is really awesome, getting into something else that they offer that I didn't really go over. They offer the ability to do all of this on mobile or on your desktop. It's your choice. How does this work for you? But it's also because it keeps you unified on the go. I love that because you can use this, update all of these things, have your mobile app, and continue to do exactly what you're doing right through your phone. It mirrors all of this. Plus, if you have the desktop app or the website that I'm using right now, you can use command features or command tools in order to make this even more, I don't want to say AI friendly, but accessible. Now, speaking of AI, there is another option here. You can chat with. This means that if you're looking to do something or you don't know how, don't go looking for it. Just ask AI. It's that simple. And it's one of my favorite parts, even though it's on beta, that I don't have to go searching for the know-how because it's right here in front of me. So with all of this being so great, where is it falling short? Well, I'll tell you right now, it is actually a steeper learning curve. For me to add in all these tasks, it was very easy, but I didn't know exactly where to go to add in my inbox or connect my personal calendar to make it actually work. It was kind of confusing what was upcoming. And then you have this awesome tool with the planner. It does your daily planning and helps you kind of create a ritual. But in that too, it was like, okay, what did you do yesterday? So you can kind of get an idea about it. Okay. But then if I go into today, I kind of can. I have to wait for that to be a little bit later. And some of the things that they were offering and showing that you can actually do here, I'm sure you can. I just can't seem to figure out where to go to do it. The good news is, like I mentioned, you can go here, and it was offered many times. It would show up on my screen like, hey, do you know how to do this? Just go over here and ask. Or it would come up with an actual learning option if I wanted to do it that way as well, like watch a video really quickly. But not all of us have that time. So I don't love the learning curve where you have to kind of stop for a second to figure out how to do something. It is pretty easy to understand the basics. It's just more of those cool tools that they were offering in the beginning. But I do think that the more you use it, the more likely you are to figure it out. And then some of the other integrations feel like a middle layer instead of like it's native to the tool. So if you're using Asana, you can add it to here. I believe that was one of the options, yes. But it's not going to come into all of this like it's just easily going in and making it work really well, right? No, instead, it's actually going to kind of add on top, and then you have to go through and make it work for you. I don't love that. Going into like the integrations and stuff, that's where you're going to kind of find out where some of your other appearance things are. I mean, you could go into just settings and whatnot, but it wasn't right in front of you and you can't just update it like really quickly up here or over there or anything. And I don't really love that either. The interface is very clean and it is minimal, but in some ways it's almost too minimal because I don't know where to go always to find the option to make it really work for me and make it look the way I'm looking for it to work. Plus, even though there is a desktop app, there is no true offline mode. I mean, it is going to kind of be pulling across everything because it needs to sync. So right here, if this isn't working, you may not see it in your other tools, and it always kind of needs to find a way online so that you can see it through the other tool. That's not the end of the world. Most of the time we're online in some capacity, and there's always a way to kind of push things over. But that was a little bit of a, I don't love that. And then the other thing is when it comes down to the automation, it's pretty basic here. There's no real automation. You do have your AI options. You do have support. You do have a meeting assistant. So you can do meetings through here, and I believe it's using Teams. If you go through over here, there is the Teams option. Where is it? Right here. Plus a few other options if you're using some of these other tools. But there is no real way to automate something to kind of say like, hey, go through here and then just make it automatically work unless you connect directly to Zapier. So it has an integration option, but no built-in automation, which brings us into whether or not all of this is worth the cost. But really quickly, before I go into cost, remember, you can add in a task right there. It shows up. You can move it exactly as you want to. You can also schedule the time frame. Right here is how long, the time and day. You can make this a repeating task. You can also lock it into the calendar. You can make it a deadline. You can also set it as a priority. So this works as a true calendar system. All right, now let's get into pricing to see whether or not this is actually worth it. Here we have the pricing. So Akiflow offers basically one price, but it's offered in two different ways. And right now, today, they have a 20% off the yearly plan. So you can do a 7-day trial to determine if you like it and basically get most of the things you're looking for. As I said, there's really no difference between the two, but there is that cost. So you're looking at monthly for $34 or yearly. Right now, it's $15.20, or you can get it for $19 typically, and using that 7-day trial in order to determine if it's something that you actually really like. The only difference is that you may have to pay a little bit more when you start going into things like teams. So you'll have to get in touch with them to determine if you have everything you need based off of this for your team, and you can get discounts if you happen to be a student. Always go for this if you are a student or a teacher. You always get the better costs, and you usually get all of the bells and whistles. Which brings us into the next big question. Is it worth it? Well, it does have a strong value for anyone currently bouncing between 5 or 6 productivity apps, because you can consolidate it, just not perfectly, but you can consolidate technically. And if you're a freelancer or a solopreneur, or you have the mental clarity of having everything, or really you need the mental clarity of having everything in one well-designed, very easy, tangible location, this may be it. But you do need to ask yourself the question, how much is actually unified and efficient and really beautiful in its workflow for you? What does that answer actually look like to justify the type of investment of $34 or a month, or going into the yearly that you're spending almost $200 a year? But if you are happy with your own current setup, or you need a seriously heavy team in all of the things that you're doing, the team may be costly because they didn't even put the actual pricing for that. So in my opinion, I would say that this is for somebody who's a solo creator, freelancer, or, anybody who's really looking for that ability to juggle a whole bunch in one spot. And you are already living across Gmail, Google Calendar, Slack, and a task manager. But I wouldn't say that this is for somebody who is in a big team. And I wouldn't say that this is for anybody who absolutely loves their current setup. Don't go for a productivity tool like this. It's great, but it's not that great. It's good. That's more like it, which brings us into the GBRLIFE rating. Because I said it's good, and that is the very reason I'm giving the GBRLIFE rating of a 3.5 out of 5. Because at its core, it is unified. It is pretty good. You do have all those other business tools and integration options that will let you work with it quite well. So you're looking at some pretty good bells and whistles, at least to keep you on task, like focus time and a lack of clutter, plus, again, that integration. But I had to remove a full point due to the learning curve, limited collaboration, and a narrow ideal of your user profile. And then I had to remove a half a point because I think you're going to find more rough edges because it's still one of the newer tools out there. But if you happen to fit the profile perfectly for what they're looking for, that niche down person, I think that a lot of people in those situations are actually going to rate this extremely high. But I don't think it's for everybody. And that's why I'm sticking to a 3.5 out of 5. Now, I want to know what you think. Have you used Akiflow before? Are you using Notion or Asana or ClickUp instead? Or just pen and paper? Me, I love pen and paper. But I use tools like this too, but I can't seem to get away from it. Either way, drop that in the comments below about what you're using. Because productivity tools don't work for everybody, but the ones that do work often work great for many others. In other words, Share the wealth, but it's back to school. And parents have enough to remember. I mean, so does pretty much everybody else right now, right? Things change. There's activities, there's groceries, there's appointments, there's work. And AI has entered family organization. But does that actually make life easier? Today we're looking at Ohai.ai. And we're going to check to see if it's worth your time and money. I'm Caitlin. And this is GBRLIFE Reviews, where I test the tools so you don't waste your time, your money, or your energy, just mine. So let's get into Ohai and check out what this actually is. Family organizer? You have a lot to live up to. Inside of Ohai we go. This is the main page. Now, I can say from directly going into here that you can see it is friendly for a family. And it is trying to be a shared calendar, a task reminder, grocery list, meal planning, family communication hub. But in my eyes, I see it as a little bit more because I see that this is something that does actually work with everyone. So let me go into what I like, what I don't like, pricing, all that fun stuff. So you can see the good, the bad, and the ugly, basically. I don't think there's much ugly here, actually. So just the good and the bad. Let's go in. Okay, so I just set this up. But I did do something fun. It automatically asks you whether or not you're interested in having it scan your email. That's one of the first things it does as you're going through the sign up and setup process. So even though it's saying that my day is wide open, this is only based off of events that it was able to scan based off of my calendar that I decided to add because it works with many different kinds. And based off of anything it scanned from my email that I gave it access to. So right now it's saying that there's not much, but I can add an event immediately. Now, if I continue along, you'll see that it's going through and saying my upcoming to-do are school related. And this is because the first thing that I did when I got into the AI side of it, which I'll show you in a moment, I did make sure to tell it every single email, the actual email itself from the school, to scan my emails for those emails so that it would automatically add to my calendar. And then that would allow for anything that comes up in the future to go ahead and add it to my to-do list immediately. So we know that school's coming up. So we know that there's Meet the Teacher Night. We know that we need to get the house color shirts, and we know that there is a fund run that's coming up because it was in an email. And I gave it the specific email to search for not just the document inside there, not just the data inside there, but saying it's from thisschool.com. And it found all that for me. I did not provide it that information. Now here we have the main interface. You can see it's clean and relatively modern. It's not exactly your Pinterest, folder areas that you're going to go into that specific list and be able to figure out exactly what you want like other family tools. And this is the reason why I actually would say this works for everybody, because you can make your to-do list anything you would like it to be. You don't have to decide it's school related. You can decide it's whatever you want related. And then you also have your household, but that could be your partner. That could be a couple friends that you need to work with. That could even be some of your business partners. So here is your AI side of things. When you go into it, you start talking to it about anything that you need to talk about. You can say, let's go into calendar management. You can give it a voice memo. You can do document processing. You can also go into your lists or your to-do lists. You can also see your chat history right here. If I were to select calendar management, it brings me directly into what do I need updating. I can say add an event, scan an email, my day ahead, household, free time. I can say, you know what? Let's add an event. All right. Today, I will be posting I almost said vlog post review about Ohai. Set a reminder to post at 6 p.m. Okay, and there it is. That's it. It already added it to my calendar. And here's the thing. I can just say it. I don't have to do this by typing. I can also do this on my phone. It's that simple. Because when you're setting up this entire interface, you're also doing it by giving it your phone number, which means you can text it and it will still update just like this. So it's as simple as writing a text or going into the actual app and working through there. But they try to make it as easy as possible for you. Now, the other option here is you can, again, do your voice memo, but you can also go directly to your calendar. And through here, you can add in specific tags for each person. You can add in specific tags for your health, your meals, your connection, social, school. It has pretty much all of those things that you typically see. This is your to-do list in an organization tool. But the reason I think that this one is a little different, Bracy Circle, the reason I think this one is a little different is because it's made to be your assistant truly. It's made to give you this little octopus and say, hey, I'm your buddy. Let's work together to make this happen. And let's centralize a whole bunch of different apps into one place. You don't have to have to-do lists in another place. You can go in and you can create meals by having a conversation with me, and we'll figure this out together. Or I'll just figure it out for you. And you can add people from your household directly on here by going through your contacts. You can also add in health information, your different appointments. I didn't add anything yet, but I probably will. Then you have your school calendar. Over here, when you select this, which I can't go into because it'll give too much information about where my children go to school, this basically, you click on it and it'll ask you what your zip code is, and it will bring up all of the schools in that area. You select the school that you want, or you provided the calendar yourself, and it will automatically add that calendar. If you don't want this to be about your school, you can always say your work calendar and actually add in that information by saying upload this file. Done. And it will upload the information you need. Anything that requires action, your email scans, doc scans, and voice memos. And then most importantly, you can access your email scans and your doc scans directly from here. Now, the other thing that you can do with this is ask it to do an automation. And I actually found this from their YouTube channel because I have one of those too. And they help you understand how to use Ohai to the best of their abilities, your abilities, and make it actually really work for you. And I really love that because they're not trying to have you figure it out all on your own. You can go directly in here and figure it out by just looking at their little tutorials of simple things like making it an thing. For example, if you were to go over to your chat and you were to say that you wanted you could go directly in here and basically say, can you every single Wednesday provide a summary of all of the different festivals or events that are good for children between the ages of 6 and 8. Those are the ages of my children. They're currently 6 and 7. My son is about to turn 8 years old. So I would be the type of person to go and ask for that. And I did. Now, it didn't work right away. So Ohai immediately added a human to fix it and add in that automation. But that means that no matter what you're trying to do, they're going to make sure that they add in those automations, those lists, and those tools for you. There is no waiting. There's no worrying. They make it happen. So where do you find that? You press that how to, and it brings you directly to their YouTube channel. It's that simple. But going back to the actual site, you can also add in any app syncs. You can add in email syncs, and you can add in a whole lot of information about your family. So the more you add, the better it's going to work for you. But now let's get into the things I don't like. First and foremost, in order to make this happen, I had to provide my phone number. That wasn't a choice. If you want to use this tool, it needs your phone number. And I don't know that that's something that we all want to actually do. It's our phone number. What do you mean you need that? But it does do what it needs to do with that phone number. Like there's actual reasons it's using that phone number. So while it's a requirement, it's still pretty invasive. Also, AI of course is helpful, but it's not magical. I had to ask it to create that automation and it did, but after human intervention. Plus, here's an example of a small chat that I had, and it just said, one of those, hey, select from this list if you want, or you can, of course, type in on the bottom. And I just said, oh, yeah, show me my calendar for next week. And it gave me basically that nothing was really there. And then I said, oh, so plan some family activities so that I could see if I could add a little bit more. And then when it went into it, it was like backyard night, ice cream outing, park and picnic dinner. These are great things, but for one, I work Monday through Friday, so that's a little difficult to plan all of that. And then also, I said, you might want to check the temperature in Texas right now. It's pretty hot. And so it did change and pivot that, but it still said ice cream outing and make it a quick in and out. So then what's the point? My thing is, it's great, but it's not, again, magical. And you have to work with this to build those habits. So it's going to do everything it can to work with you, but it's not this perfect tool that is going to automatically fix your life immediately. It requires your setup, basically. As you can see, it needs an entire household here. It has all the things I've added. It has things for my calendar, but this really works best if everyone in the family is participating. That way, everyone sees what's going on and you're not constantly still having to take that mental load. So this is a great tool if everyone decides to participate. And not everybody may want to, especially because you have to provide that phone number and just information they may not feel comfortable providing. Plus, some of these features feel like they're overlapping. Okay, so you're prepping your day for your daily dump, and every other little thing, it's kind of like, well, what do you want me to go and look into or summarize or give you the summary of this thing? It's saying a lot of the same things. It's not really giving like this wow information of ways to really use it. So I would absolutely say that going into those how-to videos is it's a game changer, because I didn't even know there was automation that was available for this until I saw those videos. I do my research. And then the other thing I don't really love is that depending on your workflow, it may replace several apps. But the reality too is that it might just be another one to check. So I haven't really determined if this is going to truly replace everything long term. I think one of the biggest factors is that email scan and providing things directly into your to-do list, because if that's consistently working, so for a parent side of this, if I'm providing my kids' teachers' emails to scan for and put it directly in my to-do list and everything from the school, that's already a huge weight off of my back. But is it consistently going to do that? Or do I need to constantly check my email versus this to make sure it got everything? But then that's just another task. So obviously that's not what I'm going to want to do, which brings us into the price. I took a screenshot of it, but this is basically it. And it's basically another thing I'm not a big fan of. Essentially, you can see that you can go for your free, which is your basic, and that is daily briefing, reminders, household to-dos list, meal planning, your contact book, school sync, but you won't get your shared family calendar, calendar management, scanned email docs, and your one-on-one call setup. So that's not fun. Or you can go for premium and basically get everything. Now, here's where the premium side is. You can spend $30 a month if you're going to add in 5 people within your family. If you want to add in just 2 people, that's $19.99 a month. And if you're adding in just you, it's $10 a month. But as I had said, I feel like this is a tool that's really only worth it if you're getting your entire family to use it. Which brings us to that other question. Is it worth it? Well, it could really be worth it if you're juggling kids, work, and home, like I am, like many of us parents are. And if you feel like you may be constantly forgetting the little things and you're struggling with communication within your family, you may want one place for everything. But I wouldn't really suggest this if you already love your current calendar system, because there's many out there. And especially if somebody wants more of that hub feel, this isn't really that, because it's going to be available on your phone or it's going to be available on your computer. But it's not something you're putting, I mean, I guess you could. You could technically get a tablet and put this on as in your kitchen or something, or on the wall as a hub. But this is only going to work if you actually use it. That's really the point. So I wouldn't use it if that's the case for you. And if you need reminders to go check on the tool, obviously that's not going to work. And that's the reason why for the GBRLIFE rating, I'm giving Ohai a 3.5 out of 5. Because I do think this is a very, very good tool. And more importantly, because it's not really competing with a calendar app. The whole point of Ohai and what makes it very different from other tools is that it's competing with the mental load of parenting. And that's why I gravitated towards it. Because again, the whole point here is to make your life easier. And yes, those other calendar tools do make your life easier, but it also requires a lot out of you to make sure that all of that stuff ends up on that calendar. Whereas this one's like, you don't need to do that. I'm going to search all that information for you. I'm going to go get that school calendar for you. Just tell me what school. Just tell me what emails you'd like me to look through so I don't look through everything and add every single thing to your calendar. So that setup is there. And that's why it starts to lose a little bit of points, because you have to do that setup. But it also loses a big point because the pricing is pretty expensive when you were talking about 30. Well, it's technically starting at 10, but this is a family tool or a multi-person tool. So it's really starting at $20 to $30 a month for that. So that's a lot of money a month that you're spending on something like this, but it could be a game changer. So technically, I mean, my 3.5 rating may be completely wrong for you, and it could be a 4 or 4.5 if it changes your life and it's everything you always wanted it to be. For me, I'm using it. I need this thing. I'm very busy, and that sounds amazing. It scanned everything for me. It's already doing that. I'll take the time to set it up. I'll take the time because I am a busy human and I need the extra mind to remind me of everything that is going on with my kid's school. And I think a lot of parents feel the same way. You go to your 9-to-5 job, you're dropping your kids off at school. They have a bunch of things going on because currently my kids are in elementary school, so it's a lot. And then for many of us, we have our sidekicks. GBRLIFE, anybody? But that's it for this week. And now I want to know what you think. Have you used Ohai before? Drop that in the comments below. And if you want more, remember you can check out the companion blog over at GBRLIFE.com. It's linked below. And remember, with everything on GBRLIFE.com and my fabulous Mama Koala clothing line, you don't have to be without GBRLIFE in your life. Now check out the next review coming up right here on this side of the screen. Go ahead, let's get into it.
Not your bit less, logging through the motherhood maze with GBR Life.